In the last part of cloud lecture, we're going to talk about collaboration and communication security. Now, this section examines the security implication of collaboration technology that have become essential for modern organization. For example, like voice over IP, instant messaging, conferencing, desktop sharing, and email security. The fact that all of them, they introduce unique attack surface different from each other. Now let's begin with the voice over IP security threat and best practices. Now, the voice over IP threat landscape. Now, the voice over IP fundamentally changes the threat model for voice communication by moving from dedicated circuit switch infrastructure, PSTN, to shared packet switch networks accessible by multiple users. Now, the first one, we have the on-path MITM attacks. Now, this one allows attacker to intercept voice data in real time using readily available tools like Kane and Able. No specialized equipment is required. Imagine that. Now, here we have also the voice over, for example, like voice over misconfigured internet telephone. They specifically target voice over IP traffic on accessible VLANs, deciphering conversation from captured packets. The convergence of voice and data into shared infrastructure, you see it in offices, means that a denial of service attack can at the same time disable both the communication channels, eliminating the traditional fallback of using phone lines when data network is down. Now, other type of voice over IP threat, the voice over IP sniffing, capturing and replaying traffic to eavesdrop. Denial of service, the voice over IP relies on UDP, making it susceptible to flooding attacks. Conversion means the DOS can disrupt both voice and data. Now, the command and control via voice over IP was demonstrated at DEF CON, which like infected system dialed into voice over IP conference for botnet command and control. Now, the split over here, spam over internet telephony. It's a pre-recorded voice spam over voice over IP. Very low cost and solicited marketing. Tools like Spitter designed to block SPIT. Now, I want to emphasize something about VLAN segregation. The VLAN segregation, actually implementing a VLAN to segregate voice and data traffic, is the single most effective control for reducing voice over IP attack surface. Properly configured VLAN prevents sniffing tools from accessing voice traffic from the data segment, reducing a lot eavesdropping risk. Now, this segregation also addresses QoS, quality of service requirements, like the jitter. Like jitter means a variation in transmission latency, and latency, which means delay in packet delivery, can cause packet loss and degraded call quality, which VLAN prioritizing help mitigate that. Now, when you look at the best practices, you have to look at, when you review it, like you see, enforce strong authentication for all voice over IP endpoints, implement restrictive access controls on the management interface, disable unnecessary services and ports on the voice over IP infrastructure, encrypt all voice over IP traffic, ensure network bandwidth can handle the overhead. Of course, deploy firewalls and IDS between voice over IP segments. Keep systems and devices patched and updated. Segregate voice and data traffic using VLANs. address QoS, the jitter and latency, monitor for span port abuse. Attackers can replicate switch port to capture trunk voice over IP. Now, finally, you know, you need to understand there's also soft phones and there's the hardware voice over IP. Now, the software phone runs an application on general purpose computers like on your Windows or your mobile, inheriting all the vulnerabilities of the host system. So, basically, a compromised computer gives attackers access to the voice over IP application. Now, the hardware, you see it like in offices, like Cisco phones. Okay, these are hardware-based voice over IP phones, are dedicated devices connected to the data network. But they should be treated as embedded computers with their own firmware updates and hardening requirements. Okay, so beyond voice over IP, organization rely on multiple collaboration tools. Like if you work in any company, you know what I'm talking about. Each with its own security profile. Let's examine instant messaging, conferencing, and desktop sharing over here. Now here you can see the instant messaging security, web and video conferencing, desktop and application sharing, and email security. Now, instant messaging security, modern IM platform like Microsoft Teams, Slack, and others have evolved from a single chat tools into comprehensive collaboration environments with file sharing, code snippets, integrations, and workflow automation. While some platforms now include encryption and central logging, the file transfer and peer-to-peer capabilities, make IM a significant vector for malware propagation. Now, organization must establish clear policy that specify which platforms are approved, whether encryption is mandatory, whether external communication are permitted, how data is logged for compliance purposes, and whether content filtration is applied here. In the web and video conferencing, now the expansion of the remote workforce have made video conferences global, but the technology possesses significant eavesdropping risk. Attackers can use ARP poisoning, address resolution protocol poisoning tools like Kane and Able to position themselves on the network path, then capture video traffic with specialized tools like UC Sniff or Video Snarf and others here. Okay, a good example that was like Trojan Horse, it's called Trojan Horse Ghost Rat, demonstrate the malware dimension. It can silently activate webcams, enable microphones, and record audio without user awareness. Scary. Now, meeting passcodes should be strong and rotate for each session to prevent unauthorized access to periodic meetings. Now, desktop and application sharing. Now, desktop sharing provides a direct view of a user workstation and may allow the execution of remote programs. Now, the PaaS, the hash attacks technique is particularly relevant. An attacker can trick a help desk technician into establishing a remote desktop session, then use the toolkit to capture NTLM credential from the Windows Local Security Authority, effectively impersonating the administrative user. Okay. Now, last one, the email security. Email was designed before security was a primary concern, and by default, it transmits data in clear text. Now, of course, this does not have to be applied. All emails right now being encrypted here. They have encryption standard, including PGP, S coming from, secure / MIME and TLS. These, they provide protection for sensitive communication, and organizational policy should prohibit the transmission of sensitive data via unencrypted email. Now, let me tell you a real story. Back in 2021, the FBI email server compromise happened in November of 2021, resulting in over 100,000 spoofed emails appearing to originating from DHS. This story demonstrates that even government email infrastructure can be compromised here. Now, finally, the key takeaways. What we cover virtualization strategy. We learn about the difference between type 1 and type 2. We understood containers versus emulation and choose the best model for each situation. We learn about different cloud deployment models, starting from public, private, hybrid, and community clouds. We understand the single tenancy versus multiple tenancy and the trade-off. We learn about cloud service models, IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, emerging models. Okay. We went over cloud security and provider evaluation. We encourage doing due diligence on regulatory compliance, access control, and encryption, SLA terms, right to audit, and incident response. And we went over the storage and the encryption. We learned about NAS, SAN. NAS is a file object, SAN is a block, and the VSAN architecture. Okay, we learn about operations and collaboration using different technology being used in enterprise. And finally, I want to say thank you so much for watching this video lecture. If you like it, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for listening.